All right, the next demo is going to be making patterns. So I'm going to look at Trayvon. Are you here with us? This is for you. Are you with me? So I'm looking at Trayvon's um, pattern, and he has these kind of like dashed line pattern, which I think is kind of the wool, the werewolf hair. So I'm looking at that, and I'm actually, you know what, I'm going to use this as my inspiration, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to take the rounded rectangle tool, and I'm going to just draw some really, actually, know what? I'm going to use, sorry, I take it back. I'm going to use the pencil, no, the line segment tool. Here we go. The line segment tool, and I'm going to set up a line that has the stroke weight I want. I'm going to say I want it to be 3, and I'm going to say I want it to be uh, kind of that way. I want to have it be a rough texture. Let's see, let's zoom in here so we can see our stroke. Let's see, that feels a little too rough. Maybe not what I want. Let's see. Mm, brush options. Now you can go into brush options. These are just, you get a few generic ones, and you can choose, the size of your brush. You can choose the variation of your brush. But I think what we want is I want a little bit of texture. Um, I'm going to go into brushes. There we go. And I want to go into oh, here we go. I want to open brush library, and I want to look at hand-drawn brushes vector pack. Let's look at these. So here's some options. That's too crazy. That's too crazy. That's too crazy. Okay, these are too crazy. I don't want these. So I'm going to go out of that. I'm not loving these. I don't want to add any of these. I want to go back to open brush library, artistic, ink. Let's see. I'm trying to follow the sketch. So I'm actually looking at the sketch, trying to get these to feel just a little bit hand drawn, but not too crazy. A lot of these are just like more than I want. Um, yeah, these are all kind of more than I want. So let me see what else they have. Mm, try paintbrush. Gosh, these are crazy. Where did they have? All right, let's look at just a couple more. Bristle brush library. This might be better. Or not. Why can't I find what I'm looking for? Let's see. Nope, I don't like any of these. Let's try one more. Oh, these might be better. We're getting there. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is the charcoal, in case you guys are wondering. Go back, I think. There we go. This is it. This is more what I'm looking for. All right. Charcoal. I feel like this is the one. This guy right here. All right. Perfect. This is the one. So I'm going to use this and I'm going to make a pattern. So I'm going to copy my line. I'm going to do some different lengths because when I look at Trayvon's example, and I'm going to just shrink this so I can show them side by side. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, as you guys know, the pattern he's using in his design. So I'm kind of like, okay, I need to have, let me make this smaller so we can see them. Um, I need to have different length lines. So see how he has different length lines? Some are dark, some are shorter, and some are longer. So I want to create a couple different lines and I want to make them all about the same stroke, but different weights and different a different mix. So I'm kind of looking at this, and then some might have a little, might not straight up and down. Some of these might have a little angle to them that we don't want them to feel perfect. We want them to feel hand drawn, which isn't perfect. Everything is a little different. And I'm going to rotate some of these using the rotate tool so they're not all so similar. Okay, so I'm creating a little bit of some examples of, I'm gonna rotate some of these different directions. And then I even might explore there we go. I'm kind of trying to make them a little more randomized. And then I might even come in here and grab a couple of the different charcoal patterns now that I have kind of a pattern idea of what I want. You know, see which ones kind of work. Just to kind of break it up a little bit. Some of them get really crazy pretty quickly. There we go. This one that's a little thinner. Let's go with another one. That's okay. So we have a couple different weights. All right, so I'm going to use this. I'm comparing it to the example here. I'm going to select all these lines. First of all, I'm going to go Object, and I'm going to go Path, Outline, Stroke. And I'm doing that because I don't want them to be strokes, because when we create a pattern, they have to be shapes. They can't be strokes. So I'm making them into shapes. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go Object, Pattern, Make. And I'm going to make this bigger so you can now see the pattern kind of showing. Now you can see it has a big hole in it. There's different ways we can arrange these patterns. And so when you say the pattern window comes up, it just goes into a grid automatically. You can do brick by row. You can do brick by column. Look how that already fills in pretty nicely. We can do an offset of 3/4 or 1/4, or, kind of play with how the offset works until it kind of feels like it's filling where I need it. And then I might say that I need to just change my pattern because it's creating holes, which I don't like. I can try hex. Oh, and that kind of fills it in nicely. The hex kind of overlaps the way I need it to. So the hex is great. So that's kind of giving me my solid pattern that I want. I can make it bigger by how many copies I make it. Um, so there's lots of different ways I can explore this. So I'm going to name it. I'm going to call this my werewolf. So it's my werewolf pattern. All right, great. And so then I'm going to double click here and it just goes back to the original tile. Now, never fear, I haven't lost that pattern. Where it is it's in my swatches and it's right here. It's called werewolf pattern. It's showing up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm building my werewolf. Remember I was sharing, I'm just going to build it out of shapes. I can fill that shape with the pattern. So here I can build like there's the neck of my werewolf right here. I can also use the direct select tool to move the pattern. Hold on. Sorry, in the tilde, I have to hit the tilde, and I can move the pattern around inside the rectangle. I'm holding the tilde key down along with moving it around with my direct select tool. So when I look at my sketch, I can say, okay, there's the neck. And I mean, I might want to play with it more, but I'm just showing like there's an example of how we can use fill. So when I look at Trayvon's design, so he can just use a pattern that he creates and fill the neck, the bow tie, the arms with this pattern, and then have his solid fills for the other areas. And he can create that pretty easily. So that's kind of a fun feature that that we have in using patterns. Anyone have any questions on how to make a pattern? You can also do very simple patterns with geometric shapes, and that's actually the way I usually do it. This is a more complicated one, but you can take something as easy as just a polka dot here, and I can just take a single shape like this and go object, pattern, make, and I'm already making here's my polka dot pattern. And I can say, I can make it brick by row, brick by column, hex by column, hex by row. I'm going to go back to brick by row. I can also offset it more, right? Change the offset. There's lots of ways to manipulate it. I can give it more space. So I can say 0.2, 0.2, right? Give it a nice polka dotted feel. That feels more like a polka dot, right? And then I can save this as BLUE, blue dot. And there's my blue dot. Now I double click. It goes back to just being a circle. But I can then take my rectangle tool and make a rectangle. And I can now fill it with my blue dot. But you might be saying, oh, wait, Amy, it's not giving us really a pattern. It's just showing us two rows. Well, here's another cool feature. You can go into the scale tool and you can select it, double click on the toolbar, and you can say, I want you to transform just the pattern. Uncheck all of these other options. Just have it be transform pattern. And I can say, show me the pattern in 50%. And now I see my pattern nice and small. Let's say I want it even smaller. I want it 25%. There it goes. And so I can make the pattern real itty bitty to work to fill my shapes, whatever they might be. And so now I can use the rectangle. I can fill a circle with circles. And I can take this one and say, you know what? I want this one to be bigger. And I can make this one 125. And now I've made it a bigger dot. I can select here and oops, it's transforming the object. I don't want that. And I can make it 150 and make it bigger. And so on and so forth. So you can change the scale. Same thing with this guy. We can take this one and say, oh, that feels a little big. Oops, it's automatically trying to transform. Don't transform the size. And I want you to bring this down to 50% scale. And so now I can see how small I've made it, even though that was my original tile. So these are my original tiles, these two, and you can see how I can completely change the scale of my pattern based on the way I select it in the scale tool. Okay. Any questions on making patterns? All right, Trevon, do you get that? Or you have any questions? Are you feeling good? Okay, good.